when you're performing and hoping for acceptance, here's what results: exhaustion, frustration, and discouragement. Jesus says, I have a better way. If you've never heard about the Pharisees, they're a group of people, most of us have, that were well respected, right? They were revered religious leaders in Jesus' time. They were perceived as these pious people, these holy ones, these upper crust religious leaders who have it all together and who know a whole lot. They were esteemed and maybe even emulated at some points. But here's the truth. They started off strong, but over time, no one really liked them because they thought of themselves as better than everyone. Have you ever met a religious person who thought that they were better than? You never have you? Pharisees, they ruled the day. They were really angry with Jesus. Super angry with him. They were mad at him. Here's the reasons why. Chapter 8, you can go read about it this week. Chapter 8 details that he had an interaction with this woman who was caught red-handed in the act of adultery. The Pharisees, these know-it-alls, these religious, pious guys, brought her out in front of basically the public and exposed her sin, and they cared nothing about forgiving her or helping her at all. All they want to do is shame her and in the end stone her. And here's Jesus. He didn't do any of that, did he? What did he do? He saved her. He forgave her. That didn't sit well with these guys. The next chapter, we see Jesus have another interaction with someone. It was on the Sabbath day, and if you know anything about the Sabbath day, you do nothing on the Sabbath. You don't lift a finger to work, let alone help anybody. So he runs into this man who was born blind, and he asked him a question, do you want to see? And the man said, of course I want to see. And Jesus made him see. It was absolutely incredible. The Pharisees stepped in and said, how dare you help someone and do good on the Sabbath day? Like that's how staunchly stuck in their ways these Pharisees were. So much so that they rebuked Jesus for actually helping and healing someone on the Sabbath. So these two events are squarely in mind here when Jesus says, I am the door. He has a message to send to them, to the audience around, and to you and to me today. He's saying this to the Pharisees because Jesus interrupted their way of connecting with God. He blew up their way to connect with God. And now other people around are questioning, hey, should we follow the Pharisees' teaching or should we follow Jesus? Instead, their popularity is waning. Their honor that people have perceived in their lives and accomplishments are not as strong as it once was. And they're angry because they are all about legalism. That's how they connected with God. And that's how they taught people to connect with God, was through legalism, or you can say performance. That was their big deal, right? Performing, then I'll be loved by God. If I get all the rules right, if I keep all the laws, if I perform well enough, if I act perfect and do all the things and check all the boxes, if I stay away from the bad stuff and stay in the good stuff, then God will be pleased with me and then he will love me. That was their whole deal. And they created thousands and thousands of laws to try to help them stay in the pocket of blessing. Right? No grace. No grace for the woman caught in adultery. No grace for Jesus helping someone on the Sabbath. No grace at all. And Jesus was having none of it, so he had a different message. A totally different message. His message to the Pharisees is this: performing and hoping for acceptance is the wrong door. Performing and hoping for acceptance is the wrong door. Have you ever walked through the wrong door before? course you have. I was in College Station a few weeks ago, and we were up for Parents Weekend visiting my daughter there, and we went out to eat one night, and man, there were no restaurants with availability. Like the city was locked down with reservations, and so we went to this one place that had a reservation. It was really good, except there was a problem for me. Got up from dinner to go to the restroom. I said, hey, excuse me, I need to run to the restroom real quick before we leave. And so I head out from the table doing exactly what you do. Got up from the table, walked to the restroom like this. You do it too. I get to the restroom, and they have a funky restroom situation going on. It's not like a normal restroom situation. And then on top of that, a problem for me is that the markings on the doors were not in English. There was nothing detailing that this is the men's room and it says men, and this is the woman's room that says women, none of that. And so I'm on my phone walking to the restroom, and I'm just going to do my business before we head out and head to the next thing. And I walk squarely through the wrong door, and I am now looking at about 4 or 5 women washing their hands in the women's room. And I'm like, hey, how are you? Everything okay in here? I just try to back out subtly, and then I don't even think I went to the men's room. I think I just ran back to my seat and said, okay, girls, it's time to go. Let's get the check and get out of here. You ever walked through the wrong door before? It's not comfortable, is it? It can be embarrassing. You cannot accomplish what you're hoping to accomplish. That's what these Pharisees are teaching. Hey, the way to life, the way to joy, the way to hope and satisfaction, fulfillment in life is by performing for Jesus, performing for God's affection. Jesus says, I have a better way. I'm the door. Because the truth is, like when you're performing and hoping for acceptance, here's what results. Exhaustion, frustration, and discouragement. Have you ever been there? I have. Like I've tried to be loved by God through my performance, through my law keeping, through my religiosity, if you will. I've tried that route, and I know firsthand I feel exhausted, depleted, frustrated, discouraged, unable to keep up. Maybe you do too. If you're here this morning and you've been trying to connect with God based off of your performance, based off of law keeping or earning his affection, keeping all the rules so that God will keep blessing me. Let me just be perfect so God will be pleased with me. Here's the truth. Your life is probably characterized by exhaustion or frustration or some form of discouragement. So I have good news this morning. Jesus shows up and he has an I am statement for us. I am the door. There's a better way. You don't have to perform to be pardoned. Look at me. I have you. I have your back. It is through my work on the cross, Jesus says, that you will be counted forgiven, pardoned, and God will be pleased with you, not through your work, but through the work of Christ. That's really great news, isn't it? And that's what Paul says in 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 21. He says, for our sake, God made him to be sin who knew no sin, so that in Christ we might become the righteousness of God. How do we become righteous? Not through our works, not through our performance. It's only through Jesus. The only thing we contribute to our salvation is our sin. But man, by faith in what Jesus has done, we get to taste grace. That's really great, isn't it? So the question for you and for me, like daily, because we are prone to just dive into this performance thing. I know, I face it, you do too. Am I resting in my efforts or in Jesus? Like that's a daily question that I feel like we need to ask ourselves. Hey, listen, today, am I resting in my efforts to be loved, or am I resting on Jesus and what he did on the cross and in the resurrection?